Hey there guys, it's Metro, and this is the moment we've all been waiting for. I've been waiting to do level 59 to 60 with a full bar of rested and archaeology only for a very long time now, mostly to show just how fast this can actually be on a level that usually is looked at as the pinnacle. Like the longest level is always going to be the last one. So we're going to take a look at that today. Obviously the title already shows it, but we're going to show just how fast you can actually level through archaeology only. I've been doing this for a very long time, and the playlist of all 10 levels is going to be in the description if you want to watch it. This is the only one I'm publishing because I think it's the most important one. Frankly, this wasn't really a challenge per se. It was a leveling challenge in that we had to level in a unique way, but it wasn't difficult at all. The only hard part was waiting every week for rested. And you don't have to do that. You can just level normally and just take all the times we've had and multiply them by 2, and you can answer for yourself if you feel like it was worth your time. It's probably not faster if you have 0 rested for the whole experience, obviously. But, you know, there's a very good potential here to level multiple characters at once. And that's kind of what I've been doing with these no-spec characters, because this essentially requires 0 combat. Now, the way we played this character was a little bit more interesting than that. We did do a leveling challenge element of it where we wore very specific gear. I actually have this like Grand Marshal set on, or whatever it's called, actually on, and we're using this and going into Chromie time and party sync, and we've been doing that and killing mobs. We learned a lot about gaining experience in like Chromie time, party sync, while you're level 58 and stuff like that. Like you can actually level from killing rares and looting treasures and just grinding mobs. You could actually do that in Cataclysm, Classic zones, TBC zones, wherever you want. So that's something that's completely, it actually works. It's not very efficient, obviously, but it's surprisingly good. Like I've actually gotten a lot of levels, especially like 50 to 55, that can be very fast from just killing mobs with rested. So we're going to continue this today. And the way I've been doing it is I've been doing a timer. And then we've been starting in Stormwind here. So we're going to go ahead and figure out where we're going. We do have a pretty relatively bad spread, but as long as they don't keep moving south, this is usually a good thing. Getting on Eastern Kingdoms especially, this is excellent because it's like this big bottleneck here where everything's all usually in one area. There won't be any in any of the starting zones, so you'll never see any in like Silver Pine or Tears Fall or something like that. So if you can get them all on this side of the map, they're all kind of in one straight line, which is really, really good. So Eastern Kingdoms is already excellent for this. But let's go ahead and get started. And I think you guys might be surprised if you're watching this for the first time. If you're hearing about this for the first time, let me know. You might be surprised at just how fast this level can possibly be. So here we go. Let's get started. We're off. We're going to go to, what is this? Badlands. This looks like a dig site. Oh, yeah. Okay, I know where that is. That's a pretty good one. Now, like I said, previously I've been doing this with Chromie time, but I'm going to tell you a couple of the pitfalls as we do this. First of all, the number one is travel. Travel is absolutely like probably like 60+% of the time it takes to do this level. And every level up until now was about, 40 to an hour at max. So I would say like travel was at least 30 minutes of a lot of those levels. Now, if there's a way you could circumvent that, well, first of all, if you think there is, let me know, because I'd be interested in hearing, like, I've been doing this, but I'm not really like putting a lot of thought into how to maximize it. I've just been doing it because it's kind of relaxing and fun. But yeah, what would be the way that you would maximize this? I was trying to think about it. Now, Dwarf's really good, and this is a big reason why we did this, because Dwarf has faster archaeology speeds. But I don't really think that equates to that much time. Like, yeah, it probably saves a few minutes, but per level, but I don't actually think it really helps that much. I think what would be better would be a way to travel quicker. So my number one thing would probably be a mage, because if you can port, if you can port to Stormwind and then set your hearth up here, like you can do all the ones in this area and then portal up into the Badland or the Plaguelands or something like that. You know what I mean? You could set your hearth here. There's a lot of times there's some, I would probably actually set my hearth in Chillwind Camp, because there's often, like as you see, very, very common. All 3 of these can be up at once, and it actually makes it a lot easier. Like, if you can just go right to that zone, you would be flying really quick, because, you might go from down here all the way up there. So that's the main thing. Another one would be Valpyra. I think would be similar, because you can actually set your camp anywhere. And the problem is you can only camp once. So like with Mage, you could potentially port multiple times. The problem is on Eastern Kingdoms, there's probably not a lot of value to porting. Like if you were trying to port between like Stormwind and Ironforge, that probably doesn't save that much time. But yeah, I think the Valpyra would be the best, because then you could actually set your hearth or your camp, one of the two, in Stranglethorn, where there's often a lot. I mean, there's a lot going on in Stranglethorn. You got three, maybe actually it looks like 5 different digs in Stranglethorn, and then also multiple in Cape of Stranglethorn. So this is probably like the highest density area, and I would definitely want to set my hearth there, or at least my camp there, and then hearth back up to Plagueland, somewhere like that. So presumably this is where we're headed today for this first one. Yeah, this is it. Okay, so this is a really small one, a little quiet dig here, especially the other big thing I was going to mention while we were flying over was combat. Whenever you have to kill a mob, that slows you down. You don't want to have to kill mobs, and you also don't want to have to waste time like this. The fastest way that this could ever possibly go is where you get every single dig with one click of the button, and that can be possible. I mean, it's actually possible. I don't know if you can get lucky or if you can get skilled enough to actually figure it out, but you see I actually wasted a click there because I wasn't close enough. So I do think kind of exploring the dig a little bit more is probably more beneficial than just clicking, because it does take a few seconds, especially if you're a non-dwarf, to actually loot this stuff, to actually make it appear. And I think probably one of the biggest time sinks is people just being inefficient with that. But so you see how I just keep running there and don't actually it might at first seem like it's better to just drop the thing a bunch of times, but that takes a second or two every time. And then you also have to get off your mount. You see how that's actually pretty inefficient. And this is with the dwarf, which is about half the time for each dig, whatever, each time you press the dig button. Now, the big issue is getting on and off mounts. So another good tip would be to be a druid for this, and always making sure that you're getting into flight form really quick, which would probably be a huge time save, especially because travel, like I said, is such a big part of it. Even traveling within the dig itself is a big part of it. So I don't know, maybe somebody really wants to take a look at that, but we just got to 10% of the level within 4 minutes, and I'd say probably at least 2 minutes of that was travel. I mean, maybe it's worth looking at the video and breaking it down, because I think you'll be surprised at how much actual EXP per hour hitting these nodes give. It's kind of ridiculous. I don't think there's a single activity in the game that gives more EXP per hour than this. And I mean the fact that it's literally just it could be 1 second and you can gain multiple percent of a level. That doesn't happen anywhere. Now you also run into digs like this, situations like this where we're navigating these digs. I think a dig like this is actually not too bad, because you can get up high and try to figure it out before you commit to somewhere. But it's actually, these bigger digs really do take a lot longer. So the one we just had was probably the best possible one we could start with. There's only a few that are smaller than it. But yeah, obviously the less travel you have to do, the easier it gets. And then the less travel you have to do, the less likely you are to have what I just did there happen, where I kind of, went past it. But yeah, going past it is a big time loss. Also, I'd really recommend spamming the button. If you see what I'm doing there, I'm basically pressing the button and immediately mounting, and then immediately spamming the button again after getting a dig completed, after getting the token or the artifact itself. And it's basically saving a few moments of latency, I would say. I'm not really sure, again, how much time this adds up to. Well, there you go. So then you get really lucky. And then there's one other thing, and it's just luck. And I've been calling it throughout the series Titan Forging. Obviously, one of my favorite systems, been removed from the game, but I like luck. I don't have any problems with luck, and I think getting rewarded by really good luck is a very fun and engaging thing. When it happens, it's always exciting. And this is a really good example of it. If you actually pay attention to how often you get lucky, you'd be surprised at how rewarding it could be. And one of the big ways, I hope it will show up in today's video, but one of the big ways is that you can actually get the exact same location of an artifact on top of each other, actually 2 in a row without having to move whatsoever. And when that happens, it just feels like you just gained so much time, right? Because not only did you not have to travel, but you also gain just a second. You have less time spent in the dig, which is the faster you can get in and out of the digs, the faster you've been leveling, Okay, so that's it. We are now 19% of the way through the level with 6 minutes and 45 seconds into the level. We are now headed over to... Now, this is another thing to keep in mind here that you might have missed in this playthrough. This is going into a cataclysm zone, and this has only happened because of how long I've actually been doing this. So I am now actually almost max archaeology. In fact, I think we have a chance of being max at the end of this, but I probably won't. I'm not actually sure how long it takes to level archaeology because I've never really cared to do so. Are we actually leveling it right now? Oh, maybe we're not. Yeah, so I think that's probably what's happened. Yeah, we're not actually anymore. Interesting. So like archaeology still works like it's like an old school profession where there's like very serious breakpoints and like you have to be certain levels before you can do certain things. So I'm not really sure what level you have to be, probably like maybe even like 500 or something like that to come get these cataclysm ones. But I will say it's actually not a very good thing at all. This cataclysm, these ones at least on Eastern Kingdoms have been bad. These are really bad. And this one especially I've actually interacted with quite a lot. It seems weird because it seems like there's whenever, yeah, it's like it's always very near. It's like a giant dig, but they're always extremely near to each other, or they're really far away from each other. It's never like, it doesn't feel like it's very well balanced. Like, okay, so now look, we're gonna go all the way to the other side of the dig. Um, you see how far apart some of these have been. So this is always like this. And when I was doing it with Chromie time, it was actually like a huge issue because there's a lot of mobs in this area and it's a lot of travel and killing of mobs. But of course, most people aren't going to be doing that. There's no real reason to do it, by the way. It wasn't faster. You didn't get more experience or anything like that. I was only doing it for the challenge, and I thought it would be fun to play this character in like a basically like pretty undergeared state. And it was actually. Red Pally is probably like one of the most interesting characters to play out in the world, if you ask me. I don't know why. Yeah, okay. And sometimes they'll be misleading, and you know, sometimes you can tell that it's not really shooting in the right direction, so you have to try to decipher those as well. That's why an add-on like Gathermate helps so much. I think that's Gathermate. It's basically indicating where I should start looking. So always a good idea to just look at a place that you already know has a potential find. So now we've actually gone so far that we've left the dig. It's not ideal. Seems like a lot of them are just kind of in front of houses and stuff as well, which is, I guess, you know, hand selected by Blizzard, so not surprising. But you see how I'm actually like spamming. You can't really tell. It's obvious because I'm doing it physically, but you probably can't actually tell. But I'm like spamming the buttons in a way that like it's allowing me to basically do all of these actions much quicker. And it's a lot of pressing keys to do this stuff. So you really actually want to do that. I feel like it's very important that like, you know, if you wait, like if okay, so I press this and then like, oh, there's the thing. Okay. I got it, and now, oh, I should do another survey. Okay, well, there you go. That's hilarious. There's the Titan Forge we were talking about. So anyway, we do the survey. Okay, good. All right, now which direction are we going? That way. Okay, yeah, let's go that way. If you're like letting all those mental processes play out at full, then you are going to really, really slow down. Because we're talking about a 1 hour time when, like, again, 30 minutes of it is going to be travel. So you have to maximize everything else but that. And there's probably like a minimum, you know, like you would have to either rely on luck. I'd be interested in hearing like a speed level, like what would be like the fastest level you can possibly get. Now I'm also doing this in Eastern Kingdoms, and then you could do it in Kalimdor, which I think is just objectively slower than Eastern Kingdoms, but you can also do it in like other expansions too. And for some reason, when you pick up archaeology, the ones from like Wrath and Cataclysm and TBC, and I think also Mists of Pandaria, they don't appear, they don't exist. You have to get higher level for them. In fact, I haven't actually looked at this in a long time. Yeah, you have to get higher level for them. I don't think Pandaria would be very good. It seems like they're very, you know, this continent's actually relatively wide, so getting from one side to the other will take a long time. But I do think a continent like Zandalar is really good because first of all, there's 5 digs on it, so potentially less travel in between dig. Broken Isles is also really good because all of the digs are in one zone. So Legion might be the one I recommend the most. The reason I didn't do those zones for this, mostly nostalgia. I just really like these zones. It's always cool to hang out in them. If I could level like if I could just level infinitely in these zones, I would do that. To be honest, like I just love doing these zones. I just love playing classes and playing interesting concepts while I'm in these zones. So that's the main reason. But the other reason was because we wanted to do it with Chromie time, and I didn't feel like that connection to those zones. But maybe the main reason is like if you're leveling a character like this, it's probably a character that you don't necessarily enjoy being in combat with. Like, you know, realistically, I'm leveling these no-spec characters kind of as like a cop-out. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, I'm kind of circumventing my own leveling challenge by doing this because the hard part of playing a no-spec character is that it has no specialization, so a lot less power. But you know, regardless of why you're doing it, you're probably not somebody who wants to be in combat a lot in this character. So if you choose BFA, which I do think is an excellent choice, you're going to be in combat a lot because you're level 50 and so are the mobs. The mobs don't have to scale down or up for that in Chromie time. They're already level 50 because it's the latest expansion prior to Shadowlands. So and I think it would probably be the same with Legion, although at least with Legion you probably would aggro things a lot less. But anytime you have to be in combat with something, it's just less efficient. You're not gaining any experience from these mobs unless you're actually going to do what I did in this playthrough. And if you do, you gain a lot of experience. Like if you actually love being in combat and you just really want to do this, this can be a very effective way to level too, because you can kill any rare or loot any treasure and it gives a lot of experience. And on top of that, you can also kill mobs and they give like a lot of experience. Like I think like a rare was giving like 9,900 experience the last time I did it. And a kill was giving like 600 experience of a regular mob. So it's like, wow, that's, those ratios are not bad at all. Considering the rare is supposed to give you like a one-time bonus, like you can kill that rare only once. You can sit here and just farm. I bet there's probably places that you can do it. And I was actually thinking about doing it because, so no, this would have been a really bad spot, right? But I was actually thinking about doing it because I've been looking at like the potential of AoE farming in this game. It's a very common thing in Classic and like very actually effective in Classic. But in live WoW, it's grinding mobs has completely fallen to the wayside. And I think I understand why, because like if you look at Blizzard's new Classic project, their approach to it is like, let's stop all this weird degenerate gameplay that bots can do very easily. So it's actually completely understandable why that, let's put it this way. I've played on private servers before, and I've actually been like questioned by GMs because they're like they see me just grinding for hours on end and they're like, that's a bot. Like I've been like ported and trying to like force to prove that I'm a human being. So it's like not surprising that Blizzard probably shares that same mentality. Like this isn't supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be things people are engaging in. They're supposed to be questing. They're supposed to be leveling that way. And then when you're doing stuff like I'm even doing right here, it's not surprising that Blizzard doesn't want you to do that, because it's easy to fall into this trap where it feels like, oh, this is the best way to level, so this is how they have to, everybody should level this way. And then you're not having fun leveling anymore. And then you're saying that the process isn't engaging, or there's no, story being told or anything like that. So that's just how it's always worked. But I don't think, I don't think this case is that. I think like at this point though, leveling is just completely flipped in priority. Like obviously the Shadowlands expansion is important to level through, but I don't think Blizzard really cares or wants to police that anymore. So I wouldn't say that anything would come of it, but that's just something to keep in mind. It does feel like that to me. Like it feels like there might be a fix in the future. But I tested it in 9.1. I don't know if 9.15 that is. I don't know if I said that yet, but in the last episode, in episode 9 or whatever, like the previous episode to this one, because this is actually the end of the series. Usually I publish the start of the series, but I feel like the start of the series was actually really, like if you start watching it, you might feel like you're being misled, because I'm talking about things that I'm surprised, like I'm just surprised to learn that are false. And one of them was just like, I thought it was going to get slower. I thought every level would get slower. But yeah, it's actually been seemingly the same. So I didn't really do the math, but again, it's all published. So if you really are eager to, you can. From what I could tell, this gives the exact same percentage of a level, no matter what level you are. And that's why Rested is so great for it, obviously, but also why it's so fast, because the faster you get through it, the quicker you'll level no matter what. And then that's usually not the case for other content. Like if you do a single quest at level 80 or 59 and you're doing the campaign or something like that in Shadowlands, well, it's going to give a lot less experience than per percentage of your level than it would have at level 51. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how it works, because you need more experience per level. But so since this is giving an experience percentage instead of an actual number, it's staying the exact same speed, even though the number that you need keeps going up, right? Like it goes up in like a quadratic way, or I don't know what the right term is, but that number doesn't just increase in a linear amount. It keeps getting higher. The number it increases gets higher as well as the number itself. So that would make usually other, so like 89, I don't know why I keep saying 80. 58, 58, 58, 58. You do those 4 times in a row, that's going to be longer than 1 to, or 50, 50 to 54. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. And same thing like 58 to 59 is probably going to be longer than 51 to 54. And that's just how it's always been. And I don't know how true that is in Shadowlands, but it's certainly that way in the lower levels. So like level 1 to level 10 is like probably less time than it takes to get from level 50 or 49 to 50 or something like that. But anyway, this dig is actually one of the worst ones. I could tell. The problem is like, yeah, traveling across that ravine or something like that. It's really a time sink. And there's a couple like that, you know. But anyway, we are now, what, 4 digs in, and I get maybe probably 5 digs, and we're 46 in, 46% with 17, almost 18 minutes in. So now we're getting into the meat of it. So after you get a few in, you start to pile them up all in one area. And if that, you know, what we actually had some really good luck here. The fact that this is actually going really well so far. A lot of times, you know, you would get one here, and then you'd be one down in like Blasted Lands, Swamp of Sorrows. Then you'd have one in Stranglethorn, then back up here, and then, you know, maybe Wetlands and stuff. But it's like actually really good. We got all of them very near, within like 1 or 2 zones apart. And now we're heading to them where they're all basically all within 3 zones. This Plaguelands one is actually, these ones are really good. I think this is an Nerubian one. Yeah, so this is actually a Wrath one that gets added to this area for whatever reason. So that's another one that didn't appear when I first started doing this playthrough. But so you can just see like how many, you know, maybe I'll do it myself actually. Like maybe at the end of the video, I'll just, or like after I've finished making the video, I'll just rewatch it and like add up all the time that we're like not getting experience, not in an archaeology dig actively, because I would be interested in hearing what that number is. But oh, that's interesting. I have not seen many. This is actually the first time I've ever done this dig in Dungarok. Okay, so that's gonna be a dwarf one. The reason I set out to do this was not for experience though. In fact, I did make a video on this a while ago, kind of just by me stumbling across it, the idea of it. And I was like, oh, I really want to get an item from archaeology. Oh, a few items actually. And I've done that already. It was the dwarf, it was the mountain, the Chalice of the Mountain Kings. It's awesome. I really love that. There's a lot of cool stuff from archaeology too. So if you're a collector, I think there's even transmog. I don't exactly know how many there are, but I haven't gotten a lot of stuff, unfortunately. I got more troll stuff than I expected, but the main one I wanted from troll, or the only thing I wanted from anything really, besides that dwarf, that toy, was the Jinrock transmog, and that did not come to pass, even though we leveled this character. You know, even though we spent a lot of time on this character. I mean, 10 episodes of archaeology at least, and that was probably, you know, we'll just say 10 hours of gameplay into archaeology, and still haven't gotten it. So it's a very much an end game thing, it feels like, even though you know, we're basically way past the end game on it, because we're level 600 archaeology. Obviously Cataclysm didn't feature level 600 archaeology, so it does feel like at this point I'm shocked that we haven't gotten it. The problem is there's not a lot of good troll digs, and in fact this is really the only zone with them. These 3 are basically all that exists on the continent from what I could remember. Oh no, then of course there's a few in Stranglethorn, but the problem with Stranglethorn ones are they're so dense with mobs, and it's actually like a huge pain to do Stranglethorn at all. So even though it's pretty good, there's just not a lot of troll digs in general. In fact, I think there's some in Wrath zones. Yeah, like that one there, that's a troll dig. So, you know, if I was really serious about getting this, I would just go around and just go to all the troll digs, I guess. I don't think there's probably any besides in Wrath anywhere, but yeah, it's a little unfortunate. This place, I don't know anything about what's going on here. There's actually just a bunch of dead dwarves here now. In Classic, it was like, I mean, it felt like kind of like an alliance thing. There's a lot of stuff like that in the early game where it was like an alliance. It felt like an alliance base, but there was no actual reason to come here as alliance. It was just like alliance occupied lands. But this is actually the first time I've ever done this dig, so we'll see what happens. Very large. Yeah, so we made that huge mistake. They're going past it. I mean, that's like so. Oh, okay. So now we also have another issue that has arisen. When you get too many of the same digs at once, you really have to take a lot of time and fix that. So we have to actually make these real quick, which slows things down. I'm not actually Maybe you don't even have to do this. I don't even, maybe you can just keep, I don't think so though. Like, I don't think the dig will continue if you don't pick it up, right? You won't get the experience? No, I guess you don't even have to pick them up, maybe. I actually don't actually know that. I haven't even thought about that. So maybe if you're not interested in anything but leveling fast, you can just not even do that, but realistically, we missed that one, yep. So just eliminating those misses is so big, and getting a little luck, maybe get a Titan Forge here and there, it's so, it really speeds up each dig. Because it's not just more experience, like, it's not like, you know, the way it sounds, it's like, okay, you can get more experience than you expected from the dig, but that's not all you do. You also get, oh, there we go. So you don't actually get more experience from the dig, but you get it a lot faster, and that means you can move between the digs faster, which is such a big part. Like, if there was a way I can do this dig while moving, like traveling towards the next dig, you know, that would be the most efficient way to do it, right? Because then you would always be progressing. And you see that's another nice thing there. So that's actually a really good dig. I don't know why we didn't get this more. I wonder if this is maybe a Cataclysm added one. So. Okay, so we got to go backwards for this one. Now here's where the decision making starts to come in. We're not quite there yet, as you can see. I think we've done 6 digs and we're at 55%, so that means we have another 5 digs at least ahead of us. But if you get to that point where you are at, like, you know, you think you only need 3 digs left, and I commit to those 3 up there, and then one gets flipped all the way south, then you really lose time. Then you're in serious time loss territory, and that's something you really want to avoid, because like I said, travel is everything. So now again, I'm doing this without any flight paths or any hearts or anything, because that was part of the travel challenge. But yeah, I think you could probably make a lot of use out of that stuff if you're serious about it. I don't know about, I'm not really sure if flight paths are faster than actually flying now. At one point, emphatically no, but then I think that changed. I think now it actually is the case. Like, I think it's more efficient to travel on flight paths than it is to actually fly yourself. Of course, the problem is that you can't choose where you're going, so you always have to go where they want you to go, which isn't necessarily a problem in a lot of cases, especially if you're just going from north to south. But yeah, I mean, it's just like unlikely to get much benefit from that, because you're gonna probably not, you're not really gonna be able to do anything. I mean, unless you're trying to like level 2 characters at once while doing this or something. But this dig might be the most obvious one. I mean, there's all kinds of living fossils everywhere. And that one, I think we got a little lucky on. We could have easily walked past that because I didn't expect it to be there. And we just kind of stopped without really thinking about it, and it enabled us to get it quickly. The yellow ones are the most dangerous, yeah, because like if you miss a multiple yellow, yeah, and then you see it's a big. Anytime you're pressing that button, that's seconds coming off the clock here. But the yellow ones are the worst, because like the red ones, it's like, okay, I know I can just mount up and fly for a bit, but yellow is like, how far should I actually go? Makes you have to think a lot more. And I imagine this is mostly something that would be looked at as low effort. You don't want to spend too much thought into it. There we go. It's going pretty well. Yeah, we're getting 5290 out of that number on the screen. So maybe we'll try to do all this math afterwards. We'll see how easy it is for me to do. I'm not typically a skilled mathematician, but it seems like just basic stuff just to calculate all, like, how much time travel actually was. Okay, that's that one done. Oh, that's nice. Come on, be right here. Yes, it is. Excellent. Okay, very good one. To 64% with 26 minutes in. I think we will, oh, see, now that sucks. Okay, we can't go back down there. There's just no way. And we're definitely not getting this done in the next 3. So now we're at a crowd. This is actually interesting. I'm glad this has happened. I haven't had this happen much at all. But I have it happen a lot on when I've been leveling other characters like this off this recorded challenge. So we put ourselves in a weird position here. Ideally, you won't ever commit to one section of the map until everything is in that section. That's how it's ideal. But we got very unlucky there, where this takes us the complete opposite direction. So the best we can have is that we have now a few more leading us back in that direction. Otherwise, we're traveling the whole time. So I'm committing to this now. And if I fail to win this commitment, we could probably be an extra 5 or 10 minutes to this level. Uh, and you know, that would be the worst possible mistake you can make, because so now we're going to do this one, and if this one gets pushed south too, then we only have 2 more to do, right? And if these 2 don't get pushed in good areas, then we're like traveling halfway across the world again, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's interesting. It's very interesting. I mean, I don't think many people are going to take it this serious. I'm doing it because I like really wanted to like demonstrate its prowess in a video, and how good it can be. But yeah, it does look like we're going to probably see close to an hour level here. It just depends on what we get out of these next 3. If we can get really lucky, you know, if this one pushes into Plaguelands as well, then I think we're good. I'm not sure if 4 is going to be enough. It seems like we're getting about 9 or 8, probably like 8.5% of a level. I'll have to do the math, like I said, but it seems like about 8% of a level every time. So I'd imagine we need more than 4. It's probably going to be just shy of 4. And now in the past when I did this, on the challenge as well, I would also have chromie time going, so I would just be killing some mobs. So if I ever felt like I needed that, I would just get that supplanted with a rare or some mobs, or you know, something else that wasn't gonna make me fly and do another dig. My goal was to never do a dig, like never do half of a dig one way or the other, because then that would just screw up my next session. So obviously we didn't want to make that a problem. You want to always clear out a dig, I feel like. I don't know. I'm not actually sure how it works. I don't know if these things ever reset, or if like you ever come back to them and they're halfway started again. It's like I think mining, like it's similar. It sounds similar to me, like how mining nodes used to work in Classic and stuff before they have like, so in class, if you've never played it, in the early days, like Wrath and Prior, mining nodes used to have multiple, you'd have to hit them multiple times, unlike herbs. Mining nodes you'd have to hit like 3 or 4 times to get all the mining materials out of them. You'd only get like 1 iron ore per hit, like 1 stone, 1 ore. You'd have to do it 4 times to get 4 out of it. And it would always be like kind of those, oh, like, I wonder how many I'm gonna get. Oh, I got 5 out of that. Oh, that's so lucky, you know. So then they change it to just be like a random drop instead, like a normal item where it's like, oh, we got 5 clots from that mob. Wow, that's really high. Instead of like you having to like, you know, do something to get the 5 clots exactly. So it feels like that same way here, because the way that worked is if you hit that node originally, and you left stuff on it, Blizzard put like some anti-griefing protection in. Because like what people would do is they would just like go around, hit a node, and then leave the stuff they didn't want on it. So nobody, so the competition would be harder for, like, it would be harder to compete with the first person, because you'd be going to nodes that don't give you anything. You know what I mean? This is like a super scummy auction house mogul practice that was very common in Classic, and also, I mean, I'd imagine it's probably common in private servers and Classic servers in general. I don't know if they did it, fixed it there either, but okay, we're at 73%, so I gave it, yeah, I'd say 8.5 per. So yeah, unfortunately, no way we're getting this done with these 2. Where's the other one gone? Oh, God, yeah, so unlucky. Well, you know what we can do? We can hearth, man. If we get, yeah, okay, so I mean, there's no reason not to. The challenge is effectively over at this point. If we do get unlucky, I will just hearth. I'll hearth to Stormwind, and then we'll be a lot closer, so it's not like it's some cheating thing I'm doing, but I did originally plan to only do this to showcase travel, but now that we are trying to get this done as fast as possible, we'll see how we have to explore that. But yeah, I think that's probably the way it works. Sorry, I was off on a tangent there, but I think probably if you do archaeology and get like 3 out of the 6 done, it probably just goes away after a while. Like certainly more than like a day. I don't know. It's like, I'm not really sure. I've never done it, I don't think, but I'll have to try it sometime. If anybody's big on archaeology or something like that, let me know, because I've never actually, you know, this profession is like entirely new to me. I don't know anything about it. It's literally the first time I actually did it a bunch when it first came out, because I wanted to. And it was actually a very viable way to level characters like years ago as well. And for the same reasons, like, you know, it sounds weird. I try to hesitate saying this stuff out loud, because it sounds like almost like hypocritical, but like, I enjoy leveling, but I don't always enjoy playing the character I'm leveling, I guess is the way to put it. So like doing fun, interesting ways to level characters, it's kind of just, I'm almost like collecting level 60s, I guess is the way to put it, or level 50s at least. Like I don't really, I don't know. I just, I don't want to say these words out loud, but like I don't actually enjoy leveling the character a lot of times. So I'm always looking for fun and weird ways to level. So in the past, it was the same way. Like, you know, I think classes are more fun than they've ever been in Shadowlands, but there's always been times when it's like, man, I really want a shaman at max level, but I don't want to play enhanced to level it, and resto's not viable. You know, something like that especially was very common in the early days. So I've always looked for weird ways to do that. And this is effectively, like I said, no combat. It's very, now especially, I think this is new though. I don't think that this, it's like, I'd imagine back in the day, the way it would have worked is, the level of the zone was the thing that determined whether or not you got the experience. And then at some point they changed it. I mean, it might have been with Shadowlands. I don't actually know why this is so good all of a sudden. It might have been the whole time. It's just shocking to me that nobody you know, there's always people at the start of expansions like leveling, like seriously leveling, like making guides on how to level seriously and stuff. And I've never seen a single person ever mention archaeology. Like I see a lot of, and you might be like, might not understand what I mean by that, but like I see a lot of people talking about like gather quests from the, oh, there we go. Gather quests from the previous expansion and turn them all in. Because you can do them before the game launches, the night the game launches, and then turn them all in at the minute you can get experience, and then you'll be like, you'll have gained a ton of experience for free, basically, like nothing distracting from the timer of the leveling expansion time, or like the leveling process and the expansion. But it's like, you know, if that's the case, I'm just not really sure why people wouldn't explore something like this, because oftentimes I feel like the hard part about leveling is just like getting through the content that you are doing for the first time, or like, did that go down there as well? Oh my god. Yeah, that's so unlucky, man. Alright, okay. We still have a chance. All we need is, I think, two more digs. Probably not, though. We probably need 3. This would be a funny ending to this. But, I don't know. To me, it seems like this would be the fastest way to level. Something like this. Again, I don't know how fast it is when you're not rested, but I mean, you can just take everything and double it, right? Because that's how rested works. 35 minutes already, so we'd be an hour and a half into the level. So let's just say that every single level was 1 hour, which it definitely wasn't. Again, go look at the times. There was some that were like 50 minutes, some that were 30 minutes. It's just, there's just a lot of RNG to this and how it works. And you know, some I tried to optimize more than others, some chromie time, some without. But like, I would say like definitely not 10 hours for 10 levels, but let's just say 10 hours for 10 levels. So then 20 hours for 10 levels. So I'm trying to think back to what Shadowlands was like, but I know I played and streamed like all day. Like I was up late. And I think it was like at least 12 or 13 hours of leveling. I'm not even sure if I finished it that first session, but I mean, the stream's still there. So yeah, I think it's probably not too different. And again, with rested, it's certainly better. I mean, I really don't think there's anything faster or easier than this process to level. Especially if we're talking about a character you're not particularly going to enjoy doing content with. Like that you're just leveling to get something out of it. Like, so this would be great for heritage armor, right? I think a lot of people just want the heritage armor, but they don't actually want the character. Like, for example, like I was thinking about changing a character to Maghar, right? Well, that character's already level 60. So if I change it to Maghar and I don't have the Maghar heritage armor, I get nothing from that. So instead, I now have to level a separate character that I don't even want to level 60. And that's just going to make me like kind of bemoan the process. Like I'm not going to enjoy leveling that character as much because I'm just doing it for an end that is so far away. But so this would be a great thing for that, I feel like, because you can just wait, you know, take your time and effectively kind of like AFK leveling, you know, it's very easy and low effort. Especially if you do it this way. Now, if you do it from level 1, obviously these mobs are, you know, you're not going to be able to come here. Well, you can't even pick it up at level 1, but the problem with it is like you can't, some of the zones like are not efficient to be in. Like you're not going to travel to these zones just for archaeology when you're low level. So, okay, we got the second one. I think we need a third one though, guys. This is funny. This is literally going to come down to like the wire. I feel like. I think we're on pace to beat like our record. Like if this does ding us, this is going to be a 40-minute level, which is like way under average for me. Usually it was like, I think like, I would say like 48. 45 to 48 was usually the average. But this might, I mean, it can possibly be in the 30s even if we still get like a really good yield on this. This is in the Anderhall Fossil Bank, which is actually a really good one. Very tight one. There's a lot of mobs here, but that won't be an issue today because we're not doing the Chromie time thing. But yeah, this is pretty, I'm like pretty excited about this. Let's see. Are we going to get enough experience? I mean, we could do the math. If we really want to spoil it for ourselves, we need 22k experience. We're getting 5.2 times 6. I probably did something wrong, so let's not assume we are getting it, but we are getting 5. We're getting 5.2 times 6, so we're getting 31k experience per dig. So I already did that. Okay, let's see. Let's see if we do it. I think it's probably closer to 9% per level, if that's the number. 5.2. Where's it? Oh, it's under the bear, Jesus. No, I didn't mean to loot that. Rip world record. We're choking. It's just trying to find the right one after a while. It's, you know, when you go to this dig dozens of times, then eventually you kind of, the whole map is just filled with small circles. So, oh my god. So it becomes a little bit harder to figure out which one it could possibly be. Okay, that's 3. We have 95%. Got lucky there. Come on, give me the Titan Forge. Come on. Doesn't look like... Not sure we're gonna have it anyway. Damn, this was so close to being a 30-minute. This was so close to being sub 40, as they say. And it just missed it, it looks like. Provided this actually gets us what we want. And... Sub 40! Yo, this is actually exciting. Holy shit. I can't believe that. Sub 40, guys. That's pretty badass. I should have stopped that. But sub 40. Yeah, that's pretty damn good, man. I'll tell you what. Considering that's level 59 to 60. Sub 40. I can't believe that. That's actually really shocking. That's definitely one of our best levels. Man, and we got really unlucky. Like, I'm telling you, that's really, really, really unlucky. You watch some of those other episodes in this playlist, you will see we've done like 3 or 4 down here, and then they just all start piling up. Like, I've had it where there's been 1 in Hinterlands, like 1 here, like 2 in Plaguelands, and then like 1 right here. It's like, that's like a 10-minute, that's like 10 minutes worth of travel. And we just got 40% of a level with 10 minutes worth of travel, and then another probably... I mean, I don't actually know how the digs went, so I'm going to do all that math. I'll try to post it in the comments. This was actually a lot more fun than I expected to. I've been doing it and having fun, but it's like, man, that was energetic. That was like really exciting. I'm like pumped up, man. I can't believe we beat like a small record there. So, God, thanks for watching. I hope that you guys can be enjoying stuff like this, man. I know everybody's got a different outlook on the game, especially nowadays, but I don't know, man. Just find the thing that you enjoy and just go do it and do it the best you can, and you'll always have fun. So thanks for watching. We're going to see you in the next one.